Hi guys. Today's topic is about national differences in specific differences in economic development. There are two learning objectives in this topic, and I hope that by the end of this topic, you should be able to first explain what determines the level of economic development of a nation. Second, identify the macro-political and macroeconomic changes occurring worldwide. Thus far, we have described how countries differ with regard to their political system, economic system, and legal system. Now, we build on this material to explain how these differences influence the level of economic development of a nation, and thus how attractive it is as a place for doing business. There are two aspects to be considered in order to measure economic development among countries. First, in terms of how well is the economic doing, which can be measured using national production and income, and second, purchasing power. And on the other aspect, how well are the people doing, which we measured using Human Development Index. In order for an economic or country to be considered as developed, the country must do well in both aspects, economy and also people. Different countries have dramatically different levels of economic development. One common measure of economic development is a country gross domestic product, GDP, gross national product, GNP, and gross national income, GNI. However, GDP, GNP, and GNI figures can be misleading because they do not consider differences in the cost of living among countries. In order to account for differences in the cost of living, one can adjust GNI per capita by purchasing power, referred to as purchasing power parity, PPP. It allows a more direct comparison of living standard in different countries. For example, one bottle of cola costs 2 USD in the United States. But with the same amount of money, 2 USD, we able to get 3 bottles of cola in Mexico. However, we can't even get 1 bottle of cola in the European Union. Therefore, it shows that the living standard in Mexico is low, whereas the living standard in the European Union is high. This slide shows the image of GNI per capita and GNI PPP per capita throughout the world. So we can see that different color indicate different level of GNI per capita and GNI PPP per capita. Different countries have different level of GNI and GNI per capita. Next, we have Human Development Index or HDI. HDI is to measure the quality of human life in different nations. The HDI is based on 3 measures. First, life expectancy at birth. Second, educational attainment. And third, whether average income based on PPP estimate are sufficient to meet the basic needs of life in a country. The HDI is scaled from 0 to 1. Countries scoring less than 0.5 are classified as having low human development. Simply said, the quality of life is poor. Those scoring from 0.5 to 0.8 are classified as having medium human development, whereas those that score about 0.8 are classified as having high human development. This slide shows you on the left the map of Human Development Index in 2015. Different color indicated different HDI. So we can see that those in red color indicate very high human development, whereas those that in blue color indicate low human development. So we can see that usually those that with very good economic system, they are hand in hand having good economic development, such as the United States. Image on the right shows us the top 10 countries by Human Development Index in 2017. So we can see that these top countries rank number 1 by Norway, number 2 Switzerland, and number 3 Australia. So we can see that these three countries basically having a democratic system in terms of polity, and also they have a very free market system which enable them to have high economic development, not only in terms of economy but also human development index. Here we have a very simple example to show that a country or economy only can be considered as developed when they achieve or they're doing good in both aspects, economy and human. So the example here is to compare the United States and China. In terms of economy, we compare in two aspects, GDP and PPP. In terms of GDP, United States ranked number 1, whereas China ranked number 2. In terms of purchasing power parity or PPP, United States ranked number 2, China ranked number 1. So on the one hand, we can say that basically both USA and China having similar achievement in terms of their economy. But how about their people? Okay, based on the HDI, USA ranked number 15, whereas China ranked number 85. So we can see this is a huge gap between the United States and China. Although China ranked very good in the economic aspect, GDP and PPP, China is yet to achieve a developed country status or developed economic status because the Human Development Index was low. Again, I repeat, so in order for a country to achieve a developed country status or developed economic status, they have to do well in both aspects, the economy and also the human aspect. The political economy of many of the world nation states has changed radically since the late 1980s. Two trends have been evident. First, during the late 1980s and early 1990s, a wave of democratic revolution swept the world. Totalitarian governments fell and they were replaced by democratically elected governments that were typically more committed to free market capitalism than their predecessor had been. One notable development of the last 30 years has been the spread of democracy, and by extension, the decline of totalitarianism. We can see from this map, it reports on the extent of totalitarianism in the world as determined by the Freedom House. This map charts political freedom in 2017, grouping countries into three broad groups: free, partly free, and not free. In free countries, citizens enjoy a high degree of political and civil freedoms. Partly free countries are characterized by some restriction on political rights and civil liberties, often in the context of corruption, weak rule of law, ethnic strife, or civil war. In not free countries, the political process is tightly controlled and basic freedoms are denied. So, based on this map, Green color indicated free, yellow color indicated partly free, whereas red color indicate not free. Freedom House classified some 87 countries as free in 2017, which accounting for about 45% of the world nations. These countries respect a broad range of political rights. Another 59 countries accounting for 30% of the world nation were classified as partly free, while 49 countries representing approximately 25% of the world nation were classified as not free. The number of democracies in the world has increased from 69 nations in 1987 to 125 in 2017. But not all democracies are free, according to Freedom House, because some democracies still restrict certain political and civil liberties. For example, although Russia is nominated as democracy, it has consistently been rated not free since the early 2000s. Three main reasons account for the spread of democracy. First, many totalitarian regimes fail to deliver economic progress to the vast bulk of their population. The collapse of communism in Eastern Europe, for example, was precipitated by the growing gulf between the vibrant and wealthy economies of the West and the stagnant economies of the communist East. In looking for alternatives to the socialist model, the population of these countries could not have failed to notice that most of the world's strongest economies were governed by representative democracies. Today, the economic success of many of the newer democracies, such as Poland, the Philippines and Taiwan in Asia, and Chile in Latin America, has strengthened the case for democracy as a key component of successful economic advancement. Second, new information and communication technologies, including satellite television, desktop publishing, and most important, the internet and associated social media, have reduced a state's ability to control access to uncensored information. These technologies have created new conduits for the spread of democratic ideals and information from free societies. Today, the internet is allowing democratic ideas to penetrate closed societies as never before. Young people who utilize Facebook and Twitter to reach large numbers of people very quickly and coordinate their action organize the demonstration in 2011 that led to the overthrow of the Egyptian government. Third, in many countries, economic advance have led to the emergence of increasingly prosperous middle and working classes that have pushed for democratic reforms. This was certainly a factor in the democratic transformation of South Korea. Entrepreneurs and other business leaders eager to protect their property rights and ensure the dispassionate enforcement of contracts. And another force pressing for more accountable and open government. Second, there has been a move away from centrally planned and mixed economy and toward a more free economic model. Paralleling the spread of democracy since the 1980s has been the transformation from centrally planned command economies to market-based economies. More than 30 countries that were in the former Soviet Union or the Eastern European Communist bloc have changed the economic system. A complete list of countries where change is now occurring also would include Asian states such as China and Vietnam, as well as African countries such as Angola, Ethiopia, and Mozambique. There has been a similar shift away from a mixed economy. Many states in Asia, Latin America, and Western Europe have sold state owned businesses to private investors and deregulated their economies in order to promote greater competition. The rationale for economic transformation has been the same the world over. In general, common and mixed economies fail to deliver the kind of sustained economic performance that was achieved by countries adopting market-based systems such as the United States, Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. As a consequence, even more states have gravitated toward the market-based model. According to the 2017 index, which is summarized in the map, the world's freest economies are, in rank order, Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, Australia, Estonia, Canada, United Arab Emirates, Ireland, and Chile. The United Kingdom was ranked 12th, the United States 17th, Germany come in at 26, Japan at 40, Mexico at 62, France at 75, Brazil at 122, India at 123, China at 144, and Russia at 153. The economies of Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea are to be found at the bottom of the rankings. The shift toward a market-based economic system often entails a number of steps: deregulation, privatization, and creation of legal system to safeguard property rights. Deregulation involves removing legal restriction to the free play of markets, the establishment of private enterprises, and the manner in which private enterprises operate. Hand in hand with deregulation has come to a sharp increase in privatization. Privatization refers to transfer the ownership of state property into the hand of private individuals, frequently by the sale of state assets through an auction. Privatization is seen as a way to stimulate gains in economic efficiency by giving new private owners a powerful incentive, the reward of greater profits, to search for increases in productivity, to enter new market, and to exit losing ones. As noted in previous topic, a well-functioning market economy requires law protecting private property rights and providing mechanism for contract enforcement. Without a legal system that protects property rights and without the machinery to enforce that system, the incentive to engage in economic activity can be reduced substantially by private and public entities, including organized crime, that expropriate the profit generated by the effort of private sector's entrepreneurs. So, that's all for now. Thank you and see you in the next topic. Bye.